are back in College World Series, or in the NCAA tournament trying to get to the World Series. How does it feel to be back and competing in the tournament?
It's definitely a relief, a big weight lift off of our shoulders, especially just considering what happened last year. We definitely don't take making the tournament for granted, and we know we put in a lot of hard work to make it, so it was super exciting to get our name called on Sunday.
Then playing Fayetteville, you played there in 2021, you played there last year. What's it like going back there specifically?
Yeah, I'm really glad we got that regional just because we're all very familiar with their field, very familiar with the whole environment and the whole vibe there, so definitely excited to be back.
What is your advice to some of the underclassmen that haven't been in a playoff environment in Fayetteville before, knowing that you, Allie, and other players have, and you've experienced that?
For me, I think it would be like just to not make the game too big and just focus on what we've been doing all year. Just because we're going to be in a different environment, nothing really changes. They do have some kind of rowdy fans, but I guess we kind of just got to pretend like they're cheering for us and just focus on our game, honestly.
And you guys played Arkansas earlier this year. Do you think they've changed a lot? I mean, you have, so do you think they have?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're kind of focusing on Villanova, our first opponent, and then we'll definitely prepare for Arkansas when that game comes. But our biggest focus has been getting that first game out of the way. But in terms of Arkansas, I think we're more focused on us. Like, we're a completely different team than when we played them here. So we're excited to see what we can do against them. But again, we got to get game one. So
what stands out to you about Villanova?
We've done a little bit of scouting, but I guess for us, like, our biggest thing is just like don't take them lightly, and we just got to go out and take care of business against them, because anything can happen in the tournament. So.
And what does it feel like for you? Last year had to be hard, not making the tournament, because it's what you all expect, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the tradition of Arizona and wearing the A and everything. But now as a senior, you got back there.
Yeah. I think for us, like, all year, it's definitely been our motivation. Like, not making the tournament last year has motivated me ever since the selection show last year. But then at the same time, it's also, like, focusing on the team we have this year. And, like, some of the girls on the team this year weren't there last year for that. So, like, focusing on what we have now and all the work that we've put in and making that our motivation from last year, but also not, like, dwelling on it and making it, like, the whole thing,
What do you think the Pac-12 tournament does to help prepare for NCAAs?
I think Pac-12 tournament games feel just like a postseason game, so it's definitely good prep for getting in that environment, especially the single elimination format. Just kind of getting used to the fans, and every game really does count. So Pac-12 tournament always feels like a postseason game, so I think it was like a good trial run for us, and we've got a lot to learn from it.
For you personally, how do you compare and contrast the viewing party Sunday versus a year ago?
I mean, this year we were all kind of just waiting to see when our name was going to get called and excited to see where we were going to go. And then obviously last year we were just hoping to get our name called. So it was definitely a lot more fun and relaxed environment. But again, we weren't too focused on last year. We were just focusing on the team we have this year and celebrating the regional that we got sent to and all of that.
You said that this was a Pac-12 tournament was a learning experience. What did you guys learn from those games, specifically UCLA, going into this first round of the NCAA tournament?
I think maybe not even just the Pac-12 tournament, but the whole season, I think, is like we're good as anybody, and we can be anybody on any given day. And then just, again, like those big games, like anything can happen in those big games. And I think it's also a confidence booster for us, just being able to know that we not only beat some good teams, but like hung in there with some other good teams in those big games. So definitely a confidence booster going into regionals.
I know you mentioned the focus on Villanova, but in terms of Arkansas, you played them 5 times in the last 2 years. Is there an advantage at all of playing them specifically in terms comparison to the other teams who are playing other teams for maybe the first time?
I think the advantage is probably being at their field. It's just like, again, how I talked about, like, we're familiar with their field and familiar with that environment. It's not going to feel like we're just thrown into something that we've never been thrown into before. And then again, like, there's always a little bit of extra confidence going into a game, knowing like, oh, I've faced this pitcher before, like I know what to expect, and things like that. And then for our defense and our pitchers, like, they face their offense. So I think there's a little bit of an advantage there, just knowing kind of expecting to know what we're going to get.
And what do you think about, what do you see in this sophomore class? Because it's another one of those classes like yours was, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of like a big, successful class.
Yeah.
And what do you see in them, and how do you think they've obviously helped you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I see in them is just their maturity. Like, they step up in these huge games like it's nothing, you know, and they make it look easy. And I didn't have that when I was a sophomore, you know, but I mean, I look up to them in a way. It's just like their calm presence in those big moments is amazing. And then they're just like feisty. Like they just want to win, and they're huge contributors to our team. And so I'm excited to see what they can do this postseason, because they didn't get the opportunity last year. So.
Do you think about the relationship between Allie and Taylor in the infield? Just what they've been able to do?
Oh yeah, they're amazing in the infield. Definitely more of our verbal communicators in the infield, just kind of keeping us all together. But I think our infield as a whole has been great this year. We work great together. We have Lap to really guide us defensively. But yeah, they have a great little relationship going on there. But yeah. Anything else?
I think, how do you see Caitlin having kind of like remolded this team in like her image?
Mm-hmm. I would say, like, interestingly enough, I think our first 2 years, maybe we were just kind of like focusing on the past a little bit and like our past identity, and like obviously we have high expectations always, but I think this year, like from the coaching staff perspective and the players, like we've taken ownership of what we want our team to look like and what we want our culture to look like and things like that. So I think the difference has been just taking ownership of the team and making it our own, and not focusing so much on the past, but keeping those expectations high and making it what we want it.
So when you talk about the present versus the past, then where do you differentiate the two?
I would say in terms of like leadership and our culture, we're just a lot more bought into the same types of things and more of like more team run. Like I would say, we're not, seniors make all the decisions. Like I think people like our sophomores, like they contribute in so many different ways, and I just think that we really focus on that. And then like even going off last season with not making postseason, like it hurts and it's used as motivation, but it's not our focus for the year. Like our focus is the players that we have this year and what we can do this postseason. So
then is that to say that like your first couple of years, that wasn't the case then? Like it was mostly senior dominated, seniors kind of?
I wouldn't say so, but I just think that there's a lot of tradition. Like this program is built on tradition. So, there was a lot of things that maybe we wanted to change a little bit as Caitlin has become the head coach and things like that. But I would say things are just different. It's not anything good or bad, really, just different.
Do you think coming out of COVID, that first year, you guys didn't have a lot of that team building, and do you think as you've gotten further away from that, you've become more team, or maybe the team's leads more now?
I mean, I think we've always been team led and team oriented. I think obviously it feels like so long ago, but COVID definitely did kind of mess things up a little bit with just the natural stuff that happens on a team. We were kind of only together when we were on the field, and that was all that was allowed. But yeah.